Hello everybody, good evening, welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Look at the bloody numbers for a Saturday night. 4,000 people waiting for the show to even start. Why did I ever stop doing this for 2 years? Pratt. Should have a big Pratt on my forehead. It's good to be back on a Saturday night doing an 8 o'clock show. Welcome to the show. Lots to get involved in. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Cheers. Loads to talk about. So, look, is Lindelof staying at Man United? He's on crutches. Are Man United about to put a bid in for Branthwaite again? Didn't play for Everton today. Lots going on. We've got the truth behind that. And yes, he could still be coming to Manchester United. Also, the latest on Ugarte, which we found out from talking to somebody about Branthwaite, and Scott McTominay wants to leave Manchester United, Jadon Sancho as well. So 5 big stories. And if we've got time, I also want to talk about, now that we've seen a few teams play, what do you think about Man United last night? What do you think about Man United against Brighton next week, who beat Everton today? So loads and loads to get into on the show. Nadeem says, you sure, Mark? I can't answer a question you don't put the answer to, Nadeem. So come on, play the game. I've played the game. Okay, let's get into the show. Shock Branthwaite transfer bid, exclamation mark, is the not the thumb title. That is on the title. So let's get straight into where we are with Branthwaite. So first of all, a lot of excitement this afternoon on social media because Branthwaite was left out of the Everton team, and good for him. They lost 3-0, not 4-0. The goal got chalked off, didn't it? It was offside at the end. Branthwaite was never playing for Everton today. So first of all, there was a load of excitement that Branthwaite had been left out by Everton. Does that mean that Man United is coming to Man United? No, he was never playing today. Sean Dyche actually said at the start of the week he'd had a minor groin operation and probably wouldn't make the Brighton game, and he didn't. He'd probably be back next week when I think they're playing Spurs away. So that's not what is going on there. Now, Everton, I would say, well, I'll say that in a moment. Where are Man United on Branthwaite? Will there be a third bid? It's funny because a week ago, we did the video a week ago, and I feel it needs repeating, where sources were basically saying that Manchester United and a third bid, I think it was in the Daily Mail, Simon Jones, who was the one who had the information that Man United had put the first bid in. He was also the person who said we'd done personal terms. And basically, it was a couple of stories last weekend saying that Man United could go to the wire with Branthwaite in the final week. Nothing has changed on that situation. So this afternoon, I was speaking to somebody and they said nothing has changed. Manchester United could well go in for a third bid for Branthwaite of £50 million plus 10 in the final week and just drop it on Everton's toes. Remember, we've done 35 plus 8. They said no. We did 45 plus 5. They said no. And we could well go in, third and final offer, 50 plus 10. And they could say no. Man United's position on Branthwaite is unchanged tonight. Everton have rejected 2 bids. We fully respect Everton's right to ask for what they want to ask. However, our position remains unchanged. We've agreed personal terms with Branthwaite previously. We want to buy Branthwaite, but we don't want to pay silly prices, as we've shown with Bayern Munich, as we've shown with PSG. So, yes, I would not be surprised if Manchester United put in that final bid, as we discussed a week ago from good sources, next week. The week after next, the final week of the transfer window. I suppose there's 2 things to say here tonight. First of all, why would Manchester United do it? We've got Lenny Yoro. We've got Lisandro Martinez. We've got Matthias de Ligt. We've also got Harry Maguire. We've got 4 centre-backs. Why would we go for 5? Because Branthwaite, and it's interesting having just watched West Ham, Branthwaite, like Michael Elise and like Todibo, are, and have been long-term priority targets for Ineos and Manchester United. Todibo's now wearing a West Ham shirt because UEFA screwed us. Elise is now wearing a Bayern Munich shirt because Bayern Munich outbid us. And Branthwaite is still an Everton player. Manchester United want Branthwaite. Ruud had him at PSV. Ten Hag really likes him. Ineos really like him. They want him. The situation is they're pretty relaxed. We have got Maguire. We have got de Ligt. We have got Martinez. And we have got Yoro. But with Branthwaite, he could play left back. He is a left-sided centre-back who could play left-back. Man United will not, and this is the main thing, Man United will not refuse Everton if Everton come to us in the final week and say we want to do a deal. And I think that's where I would leave it. Do I think Man United are going to put an offer in the final week? I wouldn't be surprised. If Everton want to do a deal, Man United will do it. The question is, why would we do it? Well, I think we've just explained it there. He's a high priority target and he's a player that Man United want as part of their future. Will Everton do it? I don't know. I think Manchester United are in a very good position with Everton. We said no early doors. We can try again at the end of the window. Everton can say no and we won't care because we want the player, but at the right price. Do I think it'll happen? I don't know. I don't think it needs to happen. I'm not stressed if it happens or it doesn't happen. We shouldn't demand it's going to happen. But if it does happen, great. The question is, and we're not Everton fans, look, you are not a very good team. I feel sorry for Everton. Their ownership is a joke. Using Ashley Young in 2024 at right back is a joke. They don't play good football. They are not going to get relegated because they won't be one of the 3 worst teams in the league, but they certainly will be down there. They could have cashed in and used that money for a better effect. Maybe they should have done that, but that's up to them. I think we're in a really good position. I think there's some people out there going, we don't need him, it won't happen. But you're not listening to what the situation is. Man United will still buy Branthwaite if Everton come forward with a deal that we want to do. And it could still happen in the final week. But Everton have got to want to do it. And honestly, Everton, I think, in my personal opinion, I think Everton might have played this wrong. They're not in a strong position. They're not going to have a good season, and maybe they should have used that money to better effect. But look, it could well happen. I'd rather buy Chalobah and a left-back, Mark, but actually, I get that. I completely get that. But what I'm telling you is, you're not the CEO. I'm not the CEO. We're not the director of football. All I can tell you is what was in the news last week and what's in the news again and what will be in the news in a week's time. And if he doesn't come in 6 months, it'll be in the news again. Branthwaite's what Man United want. We agreed personal terms with him. We want him. Whether we get him or not, I think we're quite relaxed. But there's no point saying I'd get Chalobah or I'd get Hanko. This is what the club want to do. For me, the priority is Ugarte, says Dean. And the minute maybe a left back or something on loan if we've got the time, says and the funds, says Dean. At this point, we need 2 midfielders and a left back more than another centre back. Wait a year until Everton are relegated and grab him for 25 million, says Brandon. I don't disagree, but as again, it's about if that opportunity presents itself, Man United will do the deal. Hi Mark, great win last night, says Jay. The wife got me a book for my birthday today. Can't wait to read it. Great show as always. Can you wish me a happy birthday for today? Happy birthday, Jay. Enjoyed the book. You're a legend. I hope you have a good day. I love you and watch every show, but the title is misleading, let's be honest. Leon, can I just say, I haven't been doing Saturday shows for 2 years because I've been stuck doing talk shit. I'm doing a Saturday night show. I'm in a good mood. We've got loads to talk about. You're not a fan of the show. You don't love me. You've put a super chat in to try and be antagonistic. Pray tell me what is wrong with shock Branthwaite transfer bid with a question mark next to it. Last week, as I explained, Simon Jones in the Daily Mail and a couple of other people said the Branthwaite deal could go to the line with Man United potentially putting a bid in the final week. Everton have just been beat 3-0. They're in a horrible position. And Branthwaite is a high priority player for Man United. I will not be surprised if Branthwaite is holding up a Man United shirt at the end of this transfer window. I don't expect it, but I will not. The title is not Man United are signing Frankie de Jong. If you choose to watch and be part of this community, that's up to you. But don't come on here trying to cause issues for what's been a really positive week. If you don't like this content, which is provided to you for free, don't watch it. But don't try and bring the mood down with some speculative nonsense that you're some sort of crusader when we're not even having that sort of conversation. There's a question mark in the title. It's there. And anyway, look, I'm not going to... People tell me this all the time. Don't interact with the trolls. We're moving away from what I want to talk about. I just don't understand why people watch. If you don't like it, don't watch it. I ain't Sky. We're not Disney. We're not charging you £10 a month. Just don't watch it. Delit is a lightweight and can't play a high line, says Graham Souness. Forget Branthwaite, we need a left back, says Parker. Well, Branthwaite could play at left back. He could play left back. If RDL plays left back, he's a left-sided centre-back. Branthwaite could easily play left back. Martinez can play left back. So this is what I mean. I think if you bought Branthwaite, you wouldn't get a left back, which I didn't actually say. So there you go. Right, let me give you an Ugarte update because it feels like you have to do an Ugarte update these days. Right, the latest on Ugarte is, and we've got Fabrizio Romano on the show on Monday lunchtime. So the latest on Ugarte is, and look, it is an update. You might get excited about it. You might just say, I'll believe it when I see it. That's up to you. But I've just been called an idiot by Roy because Branthwaite isn't a left back. Okay, is it Toxic Sunday early? Few hours, Roy? Or we're just not going to bother listening? Look, I'm in a good mood. I haven't been doing Saturday shows for 2 years. I'm in a good mood. I can't deal with this. So the moderators start doing their job or I'll start doing it as well. Vardiel is not a left back. He plays left back for Manchester City. Ben White is not a right back. He plays right back for Arsenal. I'm saying Branthwaite could be used at left back when Luke Shaw and Malacia are not fit. And I wouldn't be surprised if that happened if he brought him in. Do you think we're getting Ugarte, says Patrick? I'm about to give you the update when I work through some of this nonsense. Liverpool are after a centre-back. That scares me, says Casper. I can see Casemiro being on the bench all season. I can't see Casemiro being on the bench all season, says Robert. No, I can't either. Fantastic opening weekend, says Michael. Thank you very much. There is not a question mark in the title mark, and yet here I am reading the title. Shock, Branthwaite transfer bid, exclamation mark, question mark. It's amazing, isn't it? What some see and what don't. I'd like to see United bring in an experienced striker. We need a finisher in the box while Højlund develops. And yet Xerxes just won us the game yesterday. So what we're going to do? Bring in an experienced striker. What we're going to do with Xerxes then? Not going to bother developing him because we're going to develop Højlund. I think the decision's been made in the striker area. I wouldn't bother bringing another striker in. Alex says, I just want to say thank you for what you do. Me and my dad have been watching you for years. Unfortunately, I'm having a dangerous brain surgery soon, so I just want to thank you for the legends. Well, Alex, look, all the love of the community, all our thoughts, prayers and hopes are with you. I'm sure everything's going to be fine. Stay strong, and this community is going to be there for you now, during and after. Can we get some love for Alex as well? Right, Ugarte. So, in relation to Ugarte, right, so as we know, we spoke about this morning, Ugarte is pushing for the move, etc. What we're hearing is that everything is pointing towards Ugarte being a Man United player by the end of August. Now, I think I'm right in saying that the transfer window closes on August the 30th. I think I'm right in saying that on a Friday at midday, which would be August the 30th, because August the 31st is actually a Saturday. And I don't think we've ever had a transfer deadline day close on a weekend day. So I think it closes on August the 30th on a Friday night at midday. Let me know in the chat if that's right. So it's not long left. It's less than 2 weeks left of the transfer window, if that's true, or it's 2 weeks today. So I think I'm right in saying we've got 2 weeks of this transfer window left. But it's the 2nd, isn't it? Okay. 11 p.m. August the 30th, says Robert McCormack. There you go. So thank you, Robert, for the clarity, because I'm sure I'd seen somebody in the chat say that before. So we've got less than 2 weeks to get this Ugarte deal done. But the general consensus is, from pretty much anybody with any credibility, privately or publicly, is that the Ugarte deal will get done. Do with that what you want. It's good information. How do I react to it? Because I've had it. I think I agree. I think everything points towards this deal being done. I have total confidence in the people who are saying it, but I wouldn't say 100%. I think with regards to Manchester United and where we are at the moment as a football club, we need to bring in a midfielder, and it's very, very clear that Ugarte is the one that we want. It's also very, very clear that he wants us, and it's also very clear, which is very different to what happened with Everton and Branthwaite, is that PSG want to sell Ugarte, which is a big, big difference. So yeah, I think it will happen. It's a bit of an update, but I think a lot of us are already on this page anyway. The general consensus is that Ugarte will be a Man United player by the end of the month. Why he's not going to be a player by the end of today, I would imagine it's because George Mendes is working hard to negotiate with PSG on bringing the price down a bit, and Man United are working hard to get some money in, which they're obviously confident they will do by the back end of the window. So yeah, I think that's where we'll end up, definitely. G-Man says end of the month, sheesh. Yeah, but if you think about it, end of the month is only 2 games. Brighton, which, as Robert McCormack says, he wouldn't start even if he signed tomorrow. He'd start Casemiro. And then Liverpool, where it's a tough game to throw him into that anyway. Amrabat started for Fiorentina tonight, says Rashid. Well, that's good news, because if Amrabat is going to come to Man United, he didn't have a pre-season last year. So a pre-season this year would be very nice. Remy says, I agree with most of your opinions, but Robinson is a worse version of Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Not sure why you want that guy. If you're talking about Robinson at Fulham, he is infinitely better going forward than Wan-Bissaka. And Wan-Bissaka's a better defender than him. I don't think they're even similar fullbacks. I said I would bring him in as a option at left back. We've never been linked to him, and we won't bring him in. I was just a player I actually think is good. Sandeep says, prayers with Angel Gomez, horrific clash. Ten Hag subs were sensible, avoiding injuries. Dillit could have come on earlier. Comments on Harry's performance. We've done all this, Sandeep, but what we haven't done is Angel Gomez, who I haven't seen anything of it. I was doing That's Football earlier. Somebody said something about it. So yeah, prayers with Angel Gomez, former Manchester United player, who apparently was involved in quite a serious head collision. So thoughts are with him, of course. Sounds logical if we get Branthwaite, makes positional sense, says Kipper. And Simon says, please, please, please reinstate the weekly player chart show. It's the most fun show. I will definitely just need to remember to do it, Simon. Definitely would like to bring that back. Daniel, thanks for being a member for 27 months. Appreciate that as well. Let's move on to, well, let's just stay with a few other bits as well, actually, because I do want to talk a little bit about what, I know we spoke at it before, but what Sandeep's talking about there about, you know, Man United last night, I want to talk about as comparable to a lot of other teams that I've watched play today. I think there are some things to learn. Mark, PSG need to sell Ugarte as Ramos is out for 3 months. Thank you, Bignell, on that. They need to raise funds by the sounds of it. Very, very interesting thing that we missed on the morning show this morning, actually, just to divert before we talk about McTominay. Victor Lindelof didn't get on the bench last night. And I think a lot of us felt that he just wasn't on the bench because he shouldn't be on the bench. A bit like Sancho, there's better options, and that's why he wasn't there. A picture has surfaced of him in a protective boot with crutches, and it's ended up with people being quite concerned about it. I've got to say, I get that. I understand why you might be a bit concerned about it, because there's only 2 weeks of the window left, and therefore, you know, have we got a player here that's, you know, I mean, some people have said he's done it on purpose. Lindelof is injury prone. I'm sure we haven't got scouts from Fiorentina and anyone else who's looking at him, but he's injury prone. I said this before. Jadon Sancho seems to get ill a lot. I've noticed that over the last 3 years. And Victor Lindelof gets injured a lot. I've noticed that over the last 18 months. So, you know, if he stays at Man United, he might just stay at Man United because he's on 120k a week and he won't get it anywhere else. And then he's a free transfer. Look, I don't know Victor Lindelof. I don't know these players personally. And you're talking about a hell of a lot of money. Maybe he is thinking, I'll be a free transfer next summer and I'll earn more money by doing that than giving Man United a transfer fee. I don't know. So, yeah, look, maybe Lindelof's not going to go, and maybe it's convenient that he's injured, and maybe 120 grand a week for the next year on the periphery of a Man United bench is what he wants to do. But on the other hand, you know, we certainly won't be putting in a bid in for Branthwaite if Lindelof stays, because we can't accommodate that many centre-backs. Lindelof, Maguire, Evans, Lloro, Martinez, and also De Ligt. So I don't know what's going on with Lindelof. Man United have had these problems before. Some people would say that they are convenient. Some people would say it's just bad luck. But we've had this before, where we're trying to sell players and they end up injured, and then they'll be back fit by mid-September. Victor Lindelof is not part of Man United's plans. He's never been part of our plans this summer. He's always been a player that we're trying to sell. If we can't sell him because he's injured, we can't sell him. He'll be gone next summer. We don't actually need to care about it, is my point. I mean, I'm not demanding we bring Branthwaite in. I think United would like to get him. Everton might not even give us a second glance, and they probably won't. So if Lindelof goes or Lindelof stays, we've already got De Ligt and we've already got Lloro. So I'm not that bothered whether Lindelof goes or stays. He's not going to be taking a first team place. If he wants to run his contract down and take 120k a week, that's up to him. That's more, you know, we gave him the contract. If he wants to, you know, jeopardise playing football towards the end of his career, that's up to him. You know, it's one of those, isn't it? It's the situation we're in, and, you know, I long for the day where we're not. But 2 weeks to go, injured. Yeah, probably isn't going to leave, is he? I don't know. Jonathan Rowe, welcome to Members Club. Stina, welcome as well. Duke says, the performance yesterday wasn't great, but I can see with the addition we can finish fourth. If we sign Ugarte and a left-sided defender, keep Sancho's squad depth, he's way better than Anthony. Has anyone seen De Ligt and Mark G in the same room, says Phil and James Reed. Never leave this earth, you're a legend, says Bailey. I don't know about that. And also, yeah, Duke said wasn't great. But I'd picked up on that anyway, Duke. You didn't need to add that in as a super chat as well. Thank you very much for that. Fiorentina won't be able to pay. I mean, look, also on Lindelof. Nobody can pay his wages. So, you know, I don't know what happens with that. Sticking with Italy, though, lots of reports coming out this morning that Scott McTominay, well, Italian reports, to be honest. Lots of Italian reports this morning saying that Scott McTominay has told Antonio Conte that he wants to come and play for him at Napoli, and he's doing what he can to facilitate that move. That's absolutely fine. In many ways, I respect that. I think Scott McTominay should be doing this. Bit part player at Man United waiting for injuries, or actually go and play a bit of football in the last few years of your career. So I respect the fact that he might want to go and play a bit of football. But we could, you know, we're not a charity, and we can't just let you go on loan to Napoli, because actually, what's more, and I will say this, what's more valuable to Man United? Scott McTominay being on loan at Napoli, or Scott McTominay sitting on our bench, we're losing to Brentford away, comes on and scores the winner. It's worth it for that one winner. It's worth it for those 2 points. So, look, I've always said Scott McTominay should leave Man United. But this is where people don't understand agenda and think it's just player FC and I don't like McTominay. No, I'm not loaning Scott McTominay. He'd be better off on our bench. He's more valuable to me on our bench than he is on loan. I don't want to loan Scott McTominay. I want to sell Scott McTominay. And that sounds harsh, but that's because he's got a value. Like, I don't want him to go on a free transfer. I don't want him to go on a loan. That we're better off keeping him. keeping him because he has a value to us. His value to us is, all right, he might not be the best footballer, but across the course of a season, he might score a late winner or two and win us 6 points. So if you want Scott McTominay, give us 25, 30 million pounds, and then we'll do a deal. Because that 25, 30 million pounds can be spent on something more than 6 points across the season. So I get that Napoli want McTominay and maybe Fulham want McTominay. And I understand that McTominay probably wants to go to Napoli. It'd be a great adventure. I understand that he might want to go to Fulham. It'd be a good fit. But we're not loaning him. We're not asking to loan him. We're not looking to loan him. We need money for him. Because otherwise, we're better off keeping him. He's not useless. There is a value. And that value is 25 to 30 million pounds. So pay that, 100% I'm selling him. Loan? No way. But why would you loan a player? There's no point. I might loan Victor Lindelof just to clear off his wages for a year, but I'm not loaning off Scott McTominay. So buy him or keep him. It's as simple as that. But I understand why he might want to go. There is also talk that Napoli may need to offload Osman to generate a little bit of money. I don't know what Napoli's financial situation is. I don't know. Nadia says, when's the career mode back? It will be back. Be back in about a month when EAFC or FC25 comes out. I've got the beta. I've been playing that a little bit. And we'll definitely have career mode back. If you're searching for career mode, just watch some of the TUSFC. I keep getting it recommended on YouTube. I love them. Charles says, I've always thought it was a year too early for Branthwaite. Either buy him next summer or now, but loan him back to Everton for the season, says Charles. No, if we brought him in, we could get some use out of him, definitely. Yeah, we could definitely get some use out of him. Can I just say, absolutely amazing community. 18,500 watching on a Saturday night is incredible. And I'm just very apologetic that I stopped doing this for 2 years. An absolute prat is what I would say, as I said at the start. But amazing. Love it. Love it. Absolutely brilliant. Thanks everyone who's tuning in. What a community. I do want to talk a little bit about what we've seen today and where Man United are. But finally, just on the transfer stuff. So we've spoken about Branthwaite, we've spoken about Ugarte, spoken about McTominay. I just want to talk about Sancho very, very quickly. There is another midfielder I want to talk about, but I'm just trying to find out something before I mention it because I don't know how good the source is. So I've sent it off to somebody and they're going to do a bit of digging. Robert McCormack, we'll have it for the morning show anyway. And it is a midfielder that we've mentioned before, but not one who's Burge or Ugarte or Amrabat or Rabiot. Robert McCormack says, I'd take Osman and £100 million for McTominay. You're very generous, Robert. You sure you don't want 200 million? Yeah, I don't know about that. Okay, so, right. Let's talk about Sancho for a moment. Does Jadon Sancho want out of Manchester United? Can I just say as well, topical, Mason Greenwood scored after 3 minutes for Marseille today. A lot of people are getting the name in the chat. Fair play. It is Edison, yeah. Greenwood, 2 goals for Marseille today. 2 goals against Brest. It's almost... Why am I putting my hands like that? 2 goals against Brest, it was, for Mason Greenwood. I even cupped them. What am I doing? But, look, Mason Greenwood, 2 goals against Brest for Marseille. I was doing the watch along earlier. A lot. To be fair, I do that a lot. It's more hands up, you know, what's going on. Few people in the watch along today were talking about it with regrets, and they were talking about bringing back. And do you think he'll come back? And I gave it short thrift because I basically said, look, you might not wanted him to go, but he's gone. He's not on loan from Man United. Mason Greenwood is exactly the same as Fred at Fenerbahce. They don't play for Man United anymore. There's no contract. There's no loan deal. He is not a Manchester United player. Now, you might regret that. You might miss him. You might long for his return. But it's not like Getafe now. When he was at Getafe, he's a Man United player. He's a Marseille player now. So all this talk of regret, mistake, bring him back, it's just talk now. there's no reality to it. So ultimately, do I think he'll end up back in the Premier League at some point? Probably. Do I think it'll be in a Man United shirt? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I wouldn't even like to predict. But is it an interesting move? Yes. Have we got a sell-on clause? Yes. Will he score a lot of goals in Marseille? Look, honestly, Jadon Sancho would score a lot of goals for Marseille. Because half that French league is shit. He's made a very good move for his career in a very nice area of the world, in a very good French side, where they will do very well in that league, and he will score a lot of goals. Now, what I mean by that is, at Getafe, it's like playing for... Getafe is like playing for, I don't know, Crystal Palace in the Premier League. You're not one of the best teams, and it's hard work. He's now playing for the equivalent of... Marseille would probably be Liverpool in the Premier League. So, and also the Premier League's not, the bottom half of the Premier League's stronger than the French league. So he's in a stronger team. He's going to score more goals. And what will happen is, and we know this, is that if he scores a lot of goals in that league, a lot of the big clubs will look at him. So whether that's Man United, whether it's Barcelona, if he goes for 50, 60 million, we'll make another bit of money out of it as well. I think it's very interesting to watch Mason Greenwood's career. Look, I can't deny, and I don't want to deny, because for me, personality of the individual is different to what they do on a football pitch. So I can't deny I said he was a generational talent at 19. It's interesting from a football perspective to see what he's going to do with the rest of his career. I can't deny that. It is interesting. Where he's going to end up, I don't know. Purely talking about Man United, it's not our problem at the moment until it becomes our issue again. But he is an interesting player, and it'll be very interesting to see how he develops. And I think the Marseille deal is a clever deal, because at Marseille he'll score a lot of goals. If he'd gone to Lazio, competitive league, it might not have gone as well. So I think he's looked at Marseille as the stepping stone to a bigger club. Whereas Lazio, that might have limited him. So I think he's made the right move. I really do. Rayan, welcome to Members Club. Mr. Beng says, hi Mark, first ever visit for me at Old Trafford yesterday, and what an unbelievable atmosphere. Did not miss having you on, not having you on the commentary though, says Mr. Beng Gibbons. Thank you very much, Ben. Glad you enjoyed it. I think Harry should be kept as backup or sold. Do you think Harry should be kept up as backup or sold, says Reese. I mean, you might have missed the show, mate. Look, my son Seb loves Harry Maguire. Sometimes I don't realise how much. Like when De Ligt signed, he was gutted. And he said, I don't want that De Ligt to ever play for Man United. So I'm like, okay, he does really like Harry Maguire. I don't mind Harry Maguire. I actually don't mind Harry Maguire staying at Man United. That's where I'm at now. I don't care if he stays. In fact, I'm working on the assumption that he will stay. So that's where I am. He has to be fourth choice when everybody's fit. Otherwise, there's no point. But I don't mind him staying, because as a fourth choice centre-back, or even third, he'll do a job. And that's what you want. That's what you want. But it can only be for 1 year. There can't be a new contract at the end of it. There has to be an end to this 190k a week madness. So 1 more year is fine, but you don't extend it. I mean, he's cost us about £130 million in wages and fee. That is, that's just incredible. But he's not going to go. I'm hearing nothing about him going. So if you're thinking he's going to go, I think you're wasting any energy. I mean, Sean says he can't stay. Well, where's he going to go? It's 2 weeks left. He ain't going anywhere, this transfer window. So we're just going to have to run his contract down and let him go. Which means we'll not get anything back for him. But I think as a fourth choice centre-back, I don't see the problem. And we can't sell him anyway. He doesn't want to go. If he doesn't want to go and no one's going to give you 190k a week and no one's going to give you any money, he's not going anyway, is he? So he's not going to go. Is my theory. So I'm just accepting that he's going to stay. I think he should have gone. I want to be very firm on that. I think Casemiro, Lindelof, Maguire, McTominay, Eriksen, Wan-Bissaka, Sancho, they're the 7 that all should have gone. Only one of them's gone at the moment, but I think he will end up staying. He's in his last year of his contract. We've got the option of another year, but you cannot act. If Ineos activate that final year, they are absolute divs. You can't activate a year with 190k on it. We didn't do it with Varane. We could have activated Varane's final year. We didn't do it. Rayan says, any news on Frankie de Jong? Only shit, desperate, rubbish, clickbait news. So I should have done it, really. No, there's absolutely nothing. There's nothing on Frankie de Jong. Frankie de Jong is... I'm happy to tell you, Frankie de Jong is not coming to Manchester United. And I'm also happy to tell you that there will be no thumbnail with Frankie de Jong on this channel this summer. Because Frankie de Jong is not coming to Manchester United in the final 2 weeks of the transfer window. Even if we wanted to do it, we wouldn't be able to get it done in 2 weeks. So it ain't going to happen. It's total and utter bullshit. I think you might be alluding to a swap deal involving Sancho and de Jong. Complete and utter shite. Don't know where that came from, but yeah, load of nonsense. Talking about Jadon Sancho, Alex says, thank you everyone in the chat. Best community. It is a legendary community. Talking about Jadon Sancho, I think with Sancho, does he want to leave Man United? Honestly, wouldn't you? You know, the guy who Frankie de Jong broke Mark's heart. We had T-shirts. I gave it away at one of the live shows. We had a Frankie de Jong T-shirt. Yeah, Frankie goes to Manchester. Unbelievable. Him and Griezmann. Yeah, those two. If you watch me doing a Euros watch along and Griezmann's playing, you'll know the damage he did. You'll know the damage he did. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. No, I don't want de Jong. Forget it. But on Sancho, I mean, if you were Jadon Sancho, would you want to leave Man United? No, I wouldn't, because I love Man United. But he's got to play football. He's got to play football. He's approaching his mid-20s. He can't have another year of 4th or 5th choice player at Man United. You can't have that. He's got to move, but he's almost in a golden cage, isn't he? Because you don't want to take a pay cut when you've got 2 or 3 years left on your deal. So Sancho's in a tough situation because he'll definitely want to play football, but he definitely won't want to walk away from that wage. And why should he? So it's not that simple, is it? Jadon Sancho's a really difficult deal to get out of the club. And with 2 weeks to go, I don't know. I don't know whether he can get out. There's got to be interest. And there's got to be interest with money. There's interest, but no one wants to pay the money. So I don't know where or how it's going to work. Tyke said he could be useful. You know what? You're right. He could be useful. Duke said it as well. He could be useful. He could be useful. But how useful is it as a club to be making hundreds of people redundant and then sitting a 250 grand a week player not even on the bench? It's not a good message. You know, I was reading something the other day. I think Ineos are doing a good job on the footballing side, but behind the scenes, you know, good people are losing their jobs. You know, not 250 grand a week players. Good people are losing their jobs. People don't want to talk about that, though, because they want to talk about, you know, a shiny £34 million striker. Of course we do. I don't think Man United are in a position to be accommodating a winger on 250k a week who's nice to have around. You know, what's his role? Keep Rashford happy. I mean, that's how ridiculous it sounds, isn't it? And I'm not saying he's there to keep Rashford happy, but what I'm saying is he can't be a cheerleader and he can't be a backup for the backup. He has to be fighting for a first team place if we're going to keep him. And if he can do that, that's a different story. But I don't get those people who go, oh, let's just keep him. He's got a role. He's got a role to play. For 250 grand a week, that's not, you know, if he's got a role to play, it's got to be a role. And I don't know how that works. If Mason Mount wasn't here, maybe that role could be to push, as a bit of a number 10. If Ahmad wasn't here, maybe that role could be to push Anthony out the way and be the, third choice winger. But I think it's hard at the moment to see. But the positive is, once the transfer window's closed, we'll have some certainty, won't we? Rayan says, I heard that Ruud van Nistelrooy is next in line. I think this sort of talk's really childish, Rayan, to be honest. I think it's really basic. You see Ruud van Nistelrooy at the end of the game, shaking hands with players, and you've got people going, oh, he's definitely the next Man United manager. And I'm like, why is it always the next thing? Why are we always so toxic? Why are we always trying to sack the current manager for the next project? Like, how about let's follow through on this project and Ruud van Nistelrooy never becomes manager? Because I remember something happening like this with Liverpool. Oh, Steven Gerrard's going to be the heir to the Klopp throne. And Liverpool fans got really excited about it. Oh, he's doing a great job at Rangers. He's going to be the heir to the Klopp throne and he's one of our own. Jurgen Klopp's done a good job, but he's not one of our own. Klopp for a couple more years and then Gerrard comes in. He's going to be the guy. Where's Gerrard now? So careful what you wish for. I hope Ruud van Nistelrooy has massive success at Manchester United with Ten Hag as our assistant coach. That's what I hope for. Because I can't be bothered to keep hoping and waiting for the next project. I'll keep Casemiro if Ugarte loans his legs to him for the season, says My Trousers. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Just wanted to talk very quickly. Keel Robinson says, I'd love to read his 300k per week contract. Ridiculous, says Keel. I think he's on 250k a week, isn't he, Sancho? But look, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. I just wanted to quickly touch on today, towards the end of the show. What were your thoughts on today? Make sure you smash a like on the video, by the way, and please do subscribe. On the road to 2 million. We're trying to hit it for Christmas. Could happen. You got to reach. Sancho can't waste his career. He needs to move on as there's no path to the first team. It's a shame to see someone so talented deteriorate, says Ewan. What I was going to say is, we saw Man United last night. We deserved to win. It wasn't brilliant, but it wasn't as bad as I think some people want to say. We didn't concede many chances. We probably should have scored more goals. And we deserved the win. But Fulham could have done better. Look, winning was all that matters. I've watched Liverpool play today. I thought Ipswich, and big shout out to McKenna, I thought Ipswich were really, really energetic in the first half. They ran out of steam in the second half, and Liverpool's intensity went through the roof, and they could have won 4 or 5-0 in the second half. It was 0-0 at half time. I watched Arsenal. And I may as well have been watching Arsenal last season. Incredible the way they just started the season where they left off last year. That's not easy. Even prime Sir Alex teams, we'd start the season badly most years. So that's impressive from them. Brighton have just dispatched Everton and we've got them next week. And obviously Newcastle, with 10 men for an hour, got a very good result against Southampton. So I think in the context of the results we've had today, most important thing last night was we win. Newcastle won, Liverpool won, Arsenal won, and Aston Villa won as well. So a lot of the teams that are looking around those top 6 or 7 positions have all won. Obviously Spurs still to come, Chelsea and Man City tomorrow. The team I took the most from today was West Ham, because West Ham won the transfer window. Wan-Bissaka, Somerville, Fulkrug. Who else have they bought? Todibo. They've bought somebody else as well. I forget who it is. And yet, they just looked completely and utterly not ready for the start of the season. New manager as well. West Ham just looked really not ready for the start of the season, and they look like a team that's going to take a few weeks to understand what their best 11 is and how they're meant to play. And I was watching it and I thought, it's funny really, because West Ham fans won't be happy with losing, but logically you can have a pre-season, but it will take, Kilman as well had a good game. It will take time. It will take time to adjust, and continuity is king. Look at Arsenal, the best team today, playing the same way they did last season. Look at Liverpool, same players, new manager, but they understand each other. Look at Villa, a lot of players from last season, looked a lot better than West Ham, who are trying to build something new. And where do Man United fit in with that? Well, look, we've got some continuity, of course, but we've also not completed our team yet. We know we're going to bring a midfielder in. De Ligt didn't start. Yoro is injured. Xerxes came off the bench. Rasmus is injured. Luke Shaw is injured. So I think in the context of what I saw today, nobody blew me away. West Ham sent the lesson that you can have a good transfer window, but it's still going to get time to get things going. We won the game yesterday. I tend to look at the positive of the result and the positive of the positives more than we didn't blow Fulham away 3 or 4-0. Because I think that only Arsenal looked like a team today that was anything like a team ready. And they've been building that for 2 years. Whereas Man United, we had a shit season last year. There's not really any continuity from last year. We won the FA Cup, but it was a shit season on the pitch. And we're trying to build something new. And I thought yesterday was reasonably good, considering we didn't have a striker, we didn't have a left back. That defensive line still was quite deep, I'll argue that. And our wingers were very, very quiet. So I take the positive from that. I think Brighton next weekend is going to be very difficult. I mean, I haven't watched the Brighton game against Everton. I will try, I'll watch the highlights, but I will try this week to get a good watch of at least a first half of that, just to see what Brighton are doing, because they've got a new coach as well. But that's a tough game next week. That is a tough game against them. And then Liverpool the week after. So he's got a tough week ahead of him, Ten Hag, and I felt that Fulham in the final third were wasteful. They didn't have many opportunities, but certainly that Pereira one where it's him, Maguire, and someone on the left. He's got to play him in, and if he plays him in, Onana's got a save to make. So, yeah, I'd take the positives from yesterday, with the understanding that we're going to have to be a lot better next week. But we're not the only one who looks like that. Liverpool in the first half didn't look like they were going to score a goal. Second half, went like that. West Ham looked like they'll be a bottom half team. But then you look at their squad and you look at their bench and you think, well, that won't happen. They'll click at some point. So I'm quite positive, to be honest with you. Andre says Brighton weren't actually all that. The score on the many chances we create, we will win. Polishing the finish is going to be key this season. I tell you what, if we can go to Brighton next week and win, whatever happens against Liverpool, that's a good start. That is a good start. Do you think Liverpool will tear us apart? I think Liverpool are, yeah, you know what? It's 2 games' time. Let's deal with Brighton first. But when I think of that Liverpool game, I think a lot of people look at that Liverpool game and go, got to win that. It's Liverpool. And yeah, of course we have. But I still don't think that people acknowledge that there is a difference between Manchester United and Liverpool, and it's staring you in the face. And that difference is that they've got better players, a better squad, better recent history, and a better knowledge of what they're actually doing. So when we play Liverpool, and they finished above us in the league, I think when we play Liverpool, they are the better. They are. I'm trying to put this in the right way. If we play Liverpool at Anfield, they are the massive favourites. When they come to Old Trafford, I don't want to call them favourites, but it's a very difficult game. It's like when Arsenal come to Old Trafford or Man City come to Old Trafford. I would never call them favourites at Old Trafford because that should never be a word you use at Old Trafford. But they're one of the 3 biggest difficult games of the season. Liverpool at Old Trafford, Arsenal and Man City. I'd never say they're favourites, none of them. I don't accept that we should lose to any of them. But it will be a very difficult game. And we can't walk into those type of games yet and expect to win. There was a time when we played Liverpool at Old Trafford and we knew it would be a difficult game, but you'd expect to win. There was a time when you'd go to Anfield and know it would be very difficult, but you'd still expect to win. Those days are not the current days, but Liverpool on their journey, I would say, are there, and we're here. Because what Jurgen Klopp built, the history is there. The only gap in Liverpool's armoury is Arne Slot going to be up to it? I think Liverpool against Man United is too early in the season, but I think it's a great test for us, and it's certainly something that should help us against Brighton because we've got to be moving towards that Liverpool game. It's massive. But I'd be very, very happy. and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'd be very happy if we beat Brighton and we drew with Liverpool. If we beat Liverpool and we beat Brighton and we've got 9 points, oh, God, that would just be brilliant, perfect. But if we came out of these 9 points with 7, I'd be very happy with that, because you've not been beaten. It means you've beaten either Brighton or Liverpool and Fulham. I'd be very happy with that. I'm not saying that that's what we've got to get, but I'd be very happy with that for a start to the season. We'll see what happens. Everybody. I like everybody. I don't know why I said like. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Absolutely loved that. Saturday night show back, 8 o'clock. Love it. And it will be most weeks throughout the season, to be fair, unless I'm out or something like that. But thoroughly enjoyed that tonight. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We're back at 10 o'clock tomorrow. I will bottom out that midfield story. I'm sure we'll have a couple of other things to talk about as well. Chelsea Man City on That's Football watch along tomorrow, and then the Sunday night show as well. And then we start another week, and the transfer window is still active. So we should have hopefully some progression early next week. I think. Look, the Ugarte deal, everybody's suggesting that will be done in the next 2 weeks, definitely. I think we do need to just move a bit on the outs as well. And I expect we will. 8 p.m. tomorrow. Yes, Marshall. It's Sunday night tomorrow. We'll be live at 8. Won't be 7 tomorrow because I'll be doing Chelsea, Man City, won't I? So it'll be 8 o'clock tomorrow. Absolute legends. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. Take care, whatever you're doing. Please do subscribe. We're only 200 away from 919,000. Just think, when we hit 920,000, we're a fifth way through from 900 to 2 million. It wasn't that long ago we hit 1.9. I'm just like, yeah, I can't believe 2 million. Wow. That'd be incredible. Incredible. Thanks, everyone. Take care. I'll speak to you all later.